to the affair. You know, I just realized as we went live, and I Mr. Brad Chester here, and I said, what am I going to say for Sean? Because I said the last time that I wouldn't say it's Sean Dice with Rice, because that makes no sense. And then I completely brain froze up and went, yeah, I'm going to say that same shit again. That's what we're doing, man.
Oh, man. Well, we are here, and I am Sean Rice, also Dice with Rice on YouTube, and this is
Deal with it. I like what's
yeah.
going on here.
Oh yeah, it's wish listing time. It is Christmas early for us. We've gotten some good news.
I'm excited about this. Let's click the slide. Let's begin now. Beep. 40K balanced data slated coming on Thursday. It would be Tuesday right now. KR, Brad's alive. Yes. I will literally go to your house right now, Corey, and I will kick you right in the shin. Planes that fly and start of the field. Shush your face. But they have heard us. I mean, they couldn't have not heard us. I mean, the people were no bueno.
It's just a little bit upset.
There was a couple posts. There was a couple things. And we decided instead of tackling against the current meta with deal with it, that we would do a data slate wish list for both of us, and then we do a little bit of recap of me playing some orcs over the weekend at Nova. I had a great time at Nova. Good job, Sam. Good job, Phil. I don't know if I'm still supposed to congratulate Mike on this, but whatever. But they did a great job running the show. Huge event, and I had a great time playing orcs. And it's one of the things where we talk about playing. The whole reason we're doing this series is to try to take things that are middle or lower and talk about how to deal with them, hence the deal with it. And I had a great time, brother. I had a great time playing orcs. I'm glad that I played the orcs. Slack Honey coming in with a $5 super chat. How does one beat Custodes with orcs? Flash gets to see him set up for failure in this fight. What can a man do with such reckless lack of AP? Custodes are like wildly my worst matchup. I did play them once in that, and I was able to play in a match that we had lots of objectives, so I could kind of be everywhere. The easiest way is to choose the right mission. Choose a great mission. Be everywhere on the board. But one of the big things is you have to, whether you're going first or second, one, if you can keep them off the objectives, you can actually fight them as long as they're not standing on an objective, because then they're going first. They're doing full rerolls. And the thing is that you, as an orc player, if you're playing with the orcs, you have the ability to just effectively score a large amount of points. So just being all over the board, I had so many small units of Storm Boys and mechs and all of my Gretchen and trash and everything else. I was able to just score things and just get in the way. So like, even though I wasn't killing them as much, you also have like a decent amount of just mortal wounds and stuff. You know what I mean? So you're still putting them on their fours, but I was able to really keep them where they keep yourself on the other side kind of thing. Spread out everywhere, move block them, and just accept the fact that they're going to kill the shit out of you. But they're slow as shit. You know what I mean? They're slow as shit. They really don't have fly. And if they do have tanks and stuff, it's actually an easier game for you, because I can deal with the tanks a lot easier than I can deal with anything else, because anti-vehicle, anti-monster on the orcs. You know what I mean? So it's the guys that are the issue. So you're move blocking guys, scoring your own points. And that's pretty much how I've been taking care of them. Exactly. KR says it. Beat Custodes with secondaries. Depends on the build. 100%. So it was a big deal on that. So I don't even know if this counts for the weekend win rate. Does that count with this weekend also?
It does not. This is the first one they put out. Date is correct as of the 8th of August. Yeah, I would definitely say it is slightly worse, just a little bit for some at the top and some at the bottom.
I mean,
but it gives you a good snapshot.
Right. Nova put out, I think the Orks, sorry, not Orks, Eldar, I think put up an 80% win rate when you took out mirror matches. So,
Yep.
Yeah. So, I'm just saying, there's probably a reason we're getting a Thursday Dataslate. Yeah. So let's go down. You guys, I want to talk about my wish list. Are you ready?
Oh yeah. Hit us. What do you want for Christmas, Brad?
I cannot state this enough. Everybody was talking. I was talking to a couple of while Matt Chuckman was dropping 100-ish mortal wounds on me in the first 2 turns. We were also talking about because we're both like Eldar, what changes had to be made. I'm going to pause on that one though. Matt will come in with a $10 super chat. Thought on Vic V's drop a nuke on the Eldar and bring them back up in January if needed, taking the balance patch. His take was that GW can't afford to miss in the nerf. I agree, actually, with Vic on this one. The problem is that they now have to drop the nuke. I think that they could have done, and I said this a billion times now, unfortunately, I'm sorry to just keep bringing the same shit up on it, but they could have hot fixed Eldar a month or so ago. And I think it would have really hit their win rate because they have a couple that they have the usual shit. Just go into my wish list. It's 60% Eldar shit, effectively. Kind of. First off, punt Phantasm into the sun. Period. It just go fuck off. It has to. It's so not fun for people playing it. You feel like a dick with your Eldar playing it. You know what I mean? It's just so annoying. Don't do shit on your opponent's turn like that. It just feels awful. I'm gonna skip the 2 and just go into the other Eldar.
Hit it.
Dev wounds. There's just too many dev wounds, and there's too many consistent ways to get dev wounds. I was just getting dev wounds dropped on me like it was drop it like it's hot. It's just a Wraith Knight. When you won't move a unit within Overwatch, that's crazy, man. You know what I mean? Like, I can't get within 24 just because I know you're going to put a couple wounds and possibly 10 to 20 mortal wounds on me. It's crazy that you can't even get near an objective because a towering model might do something to you. That's crazy time. Like, literal crazy time. I just... hold on, get my chi together. So let's go to the good things, though. The things that I actually want to see, and I think are just so wildly easy. Like the first 2, Phantasm into the Sun, dev wounds on the Wraith Knight, and come on, man. Those are just, those are so unfun for everybody, So we got to buff melee. It's just crazy. You've got Custodes and maybe big demons that have decent melee. Orks have meh. If you're playing the right thing, they have a lot of melee because they have anti-keywords. But like as a whole, I'm looking at you, sisters. I'm looking at Jump Marines and stuff like that. Dark Eldar. You got all these armies with strength 4, strength 5 weapons against T10, T12, and their AP 1. It's a joke. You're like, take these 3 saves. They're all 1 damage. You're like, you know what? I'm just going to fail them on purpose. Like, it's just crazy. You're like, hey, man, you playing Custodes? No? Okay, cool. Then I literally don't care where your models are for distance. I just care about what your line of sights are. You know what I mean? Give us some more. Give us that balance in the game. I love that about the game where you're measuring out your charges versus your shooting angles, and you want to, if you're playing the shooting army, you want to push up aggressively, but you don't want to get charged. And now it's just no one gives a shit. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, cool. You're going to charge me? I don't care. Unless you can completely wrap me, I give no shits. So that's just a big deal on that. They too. The couple guys are talking about this, Mike. So in four, and I don't even know if they're going to do it now or they just wait until they codex them or something. But man, Votann is so out of whack, and it's space dwarves. I want them to be cool. You know what I mean? They're my people.
Yeah.
They're my people. Look at you catching a slide today. Woohoo! But
Nice.
Votann just has to, we'll work that into buffing the bottom. Votann has to be completely redone. I don't even know how you win games. I was playing next to a Votann guy at Nova, and it was just like, wow, man. You know what I mean? That army just needs some mojo. So yeah, Danny, 100% bring hammers back to GK. But it just,
yes, please.
I mean,
please
you
bring
have
them back.
And the thing is I don't mind, and that's the thing is I hate that we don't have points, you know what I mean, on this stuff where everything's the same, because you should have a cost for bringing the better version of it. Make it, I don't know if you make it a separate line, you know what I mean, or whatever you do, like all hammers is a different unit, you know what I mean, or something. But yeah, exactly. Votann are just anti-synergy, 100% of their own index. They don't do anything. Buff the bottom. My buddy Alex Sang was playing Sisters, and Votann had a decent tournament, but like those bottom armies have the damage output of a pillow fight. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. Things like Melton now are so laughable versus the big things. You're like, you wound me on a 5. You have to be within 18 inches. You're going to be out in the open. You're just going to get killed. It's just crazy.
Yeah, just throwing out an anecdote over there. We had Brandon on Still Frosty Gaming try to hit my Gretchen with some Sisters Zephyrim, and he almost didn't kill them. Like, it was down to, one attack that he finally got them. And that was just abysmal to see.
And the thing is I'll look at a couple of the chats real quick. With GK hitting a 2s for melee and shooting help them feel like an elite army that has heavy point costs, it's tough, man, because they don't need to hit on 2s. They just need to have things that when they do hit, do something. So like, I think that every army needs a minimum amount of damage. They don't all have to be homogenized and be the same, but everybody should have their thing. Maybe it's at a high point cost. You know what I mean? You have to have trade-offs. And I love the idea of, constantly trying to solve the puzzle of making the best army possible to play in the meta. It's one of the reasons I love doing what we're doing right now, which is deal with it. It's trying to figure out how you make the best thing to counter the best things in the meta. But you have to have those tools, and they can't be such a feast and famine with the goods versus the bads right now. It's, we need more. The bottom needs more, and the top needs certain things to be just thrown into a fire. They had the opportunity. That's why I'm still annoyed with my wish list, is because I really think that they could have nickeled and dimed Eldar for like 6 weeks and been to a place where it didn't have to be punted into the sun. But I just think that right now, after it's just been Eldari everything, I agree with that original, what Vic was talking about. The community is going to lose their minds if Eldar takes a small hit and then continues to crush everybody. They unfortunately have to be the scapegoat. I mean, if nothing else happens but Eldar gets set on fire, I think everyone will still be kind of happy with the Dataslate.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very fitting. We had a lot of outrage about trying to nerf Votann before they released. How do we feel about that? Clearly, Eldar is one of those instances where it actually would have been justified. I know there were some people calling for that. That's neither, here nor there, though. We are where we're at. There is hope. There is going to be change. If you are someone who's sitting there saying, I don't want to play tournaments right now, you're not alone. And we are ever hopeful that this is going to be amazing Warhammer once again on Thursday.
100%. Also, to bring it back a little bit, because I don't want to be doom and gloom on this. I had a great time playing Orks. Didn't win the event, but I just liked playing them. You know what I mean? So play the things that you like, and hopefully they'll balance them out better. You know what I mean? And we'll try to help. Yep. To be honest with you, we'll keep doing stuff like this to help you, everybody else. The time of elves is over.
Yes. I know that probably hurts Brad to say. Probably hurts his little pointy ears.
I haven't even get to play him. I played him once. I played him literally I played one tournament in the first week at Salt City, the first week of 10th edition. And then I was just like, yeah, man, I'm just not playing these guys again. Butler in here, don't punt me. The thing is that, Mike, you had an actual list. Eldar could be fun. It just, man, I'm sorry, but it's a thing. It is what it is.
All right, hit me, Brad. It's time for me to go off.
The Beebs' wish list. I'm ready to rock and roll. Tell me what's going on.
It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. I don't want to just punt Eldar in the Sun. I want to go and get them after we punt them and kick them again, because just stop what you're doing with that. Just quit.
We got a $2 super chat from Corey. What fixes World Eaters? Fixing World Eaters isn't that hard. That actually could be fixed by points.
Exactly.
And I actually think that they'd be nice if they got a couple of the CSM extra things from CSM. Just they had a little more trash than just jackals and stuff. You know what I mean? Because they do have spawn. But I think that World Eaters can be fixed. One of the few things, I think it's World Eaters and possibly AdMag. We're going to talk about this at the end.
Yeah, we got it later on.
Yeah,
we definitely have it later on. Corey, you want to stick around for that, because we do kind of break it down later on as what can be fixed by points, what needs points and rules, and what needs to be just kind of thrown in the dumpster and rewritten.
Yeah.
But getting back to mine, I'm not going to harp on Phantasm anymore. We're done with that. Indirect and towering. I think there are a lot of simple things you can do just to make it better. One of the things that I know myself and other players have been worried about is when we nerf Eldar, what takes its spot? I think we can just kind of nip it in the bud if we, go back to 9th edition indirect changes. You get -1 ballistic skill, you get +1 save that stacks with cover. I think that's just real nice and simple. It keeps your indirect focused on dealing with trash.
So 9th edition?
Yeah, just 9th edition. Just go back to 9th edition on it. We found the fix for it. We keep saying this. With towering, I think the solution that's kind of proven itself is they get to tag into a ruin and ignore obscuring on that piece. So basically they function also like the 9th edition model. They've tried that at some FLG events, and as we've seen with the night win rate, some people have been picking that up, and night win rate has been normalizing, even going down a little bit. So I think that's just something I want that's just very, we're going to house rule it otherwise, so might as well just codify it in the rules. Brad talked about melee. I also want melee back. I know. I just want the engagement range back. I think a lot of people were upset that you could do all of these, dancing around the table after your charge. Charge a unit, pile in closer to objective, then kill them and consolidate closer to something else. If you're upset with that, that's okay. I don't want that part changed. I know that's what some people really love. I do want engagement range to be what I would consider normal again. The nitpicking, is this guy actually touching? I don't want all my Warhammer games to be nitpicking on, is my guy actually in base to base, or is he 0.1 off? That's not what I want my Warhammer game to be about. You're going to say something, Brad?
No, I was just looking at, my thing on the engagement in melee is we just need, it's just the balance of it, to be honest with you. You just have to be, if you're going to make it so it's so much harder for me to get into melee, I should have a better reward for it. You know what I mean? Yep. And I hate being screened out by walls too. That 1-inch stuff pisses me off. Chat R with the $5 super chat. AdMac, I hope something is done to help them out. We're going to talk about them in the end also, to be honest with you guys.
Yeah, we're getting to it. I promise. We list out everybody who's on the bottom of that little meta watch and give our thoughts on kind of what do they actually need.
I might actually skip over the WOG, the Nova, and then come back to it for the end.
Okay, that works too. And then some bookkeeping. I haven't met anybody or played with anybody that's drawn Secure Outpost on round 1 and been like, this is great, I love it. That card basically just reads, pay a CP, get rid of it. I think we need to just add one little rider to it. I know that's more of a cards thing and not so much a data slate thing. I don't know where they're going to put that in, but I'd like to see it in the data slate and kind of set a precedent for that, so that in the future, if we get more cards that are complicated or just don't really work because somebody forgot to, add a word or something, we can set the precedent for actually fixing it. And then, as we'll get to, I want to see some Grey Knights points drops. I think Grey Knights can be fixed just with points. Of course, I would love for my weapons to actually be high enough strength to wound, I don't know, a Lancer on 4s, just something reasonable. Of course, I would like extra AP, but I'm being more realistic with it. I hope they, drop points enough so we get maybe 1 or 2 more units, and then, Grandmaster changes. Why is my Grandmaster Dread Knight hitting on 3s? That's clearly a typo. I don't know who missed that. They hit on 2s, come on. And then same thing with the Foot Grandmaster. Why is my strat once per game? I mean,
that makes no sense. The captain does it every single turn.
Hold on, Grey Knight strats are too good. Forget the fact that all of our AP is bad and melee's not great this edition, and none of our guns seem to make any difference shooting at anything. We really need to not use our stratagems but one time. I don't know who did that. I'm coming for you. Seriously, fix that. That's a simple fix. It doesn't take any work to do that. And then, we mentioned it in our Tau video. You can check that out on either Death or Glory or Dice with Rice if you missed it. Tau needs to be able to split fire. Just come on. I don't want anything complicated. We're keeping it simple. Just let me shoot 2 guys at once.
You know what I actually liked? I want to do one more. I'm going back to my list because I want to throw it on here. Because Danny puts in the anti-psych, and psych cannon should get anti-vehicle 4 and anti-infantry 4. Ooh. I actually really liked with the Orks. I thought it felt really fair having an anti-4 keyword. Like anti-2s, anti-3s felt too much. And they shouldn't be able to do devastating wounds. That's my other thing with that. Anything that's not a natural 6 shouldn't be doing devastating wounds. But I do like, I wish more things had anti whatever, vehicle, this and that, but keep it at 4. 4 felt great. You know what I mean? It's not too ridiculous. You're only wounding 50% of the time, but it gives you a chance to wound the high toughness monsters, vehicles, whatever the thing it is. But don't put mortals on that. That did feel like real wacky because the Orcs didn't put out a lot of mortals on doing that. And I specifically made my army for that. But when I was playing it, I was like, this feels like really cool to have a chance, but I don't think it should do that. So exactly, decouple anti and dev ones. 100%. Dev ones are fine if they're just natural 6s here and there, and certain weapons shouldn't get them. Again, cough, cough, break night. So like that's a big thing on that. So but I think that the anti keywords feel really good as long as they're not producing mortals and stuff. I mean, mortals just suck. Let's be honest. It just kind of. It does though, because you don't get to do anything about them unless you're like 2 armies. You know what I mean? So
that's fair.
I'm gonna jump over, and I'm just gonna go into. We'll come back to Orcs at the very end. It'll be easy. We'll time step. It'll be loud. So as we said before, Phantasm, totally fair. We love it so much. I love everything about this slide. I couldn't stop laughing this morning when I was setting this up. So. Go home, Eldar, you're drunk.
That's very true. I mean, come on. As somebody who's had to play, against it several times, I've never been once like, yeah, this is fine. I'm definitely not getting beat up by, somebody just moving their models wherever they want. They don't really, think too hard about it. They're just like, yeah, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go get a beer. I'll be back. Oh, yeah. Did you do something? I'm actually going to leave.
Yeah, it's bonkers. In Night Spinners, I mean, it feels super awesome when you're -2 to move and you can't advance. Is it -2 to advance? No. Just stand there. You get a slower moving unit? Well, enjoy, because I'm probably going to take 2 Night Spinners. You can just sit there. And let's go with the combo of that. So while you're not maybe able to move any of your units, well, if I do sneak out and kill one of your units, enjoy the Incarn showing up, bouncing in, killing something. Oh yeah, within an inch, so there's no failing. You actually can't fail the charge. Also, then you go back, look back to Exhibit A of Phantasm, because after the Incarn kills whatever it killed, then it phantasms either way back in your back row edge, where if you have to charge, you now have to basically start the game in the back corner, or the Incarn boop moves again, and then again you're sitting with the dumbest angles ever. Going, how can I not get angles on something that's literally in my deployment zone?
Exactly. So, obviously that's a huge deal. And I want to say first off, Brad and I realized this is not an exhaustive list. This is just kind of the main offenders. There's, of course, as I saw in the chat just now.
Yeah, we meant to put that up.
The detachment rule.
Yeah, the crafter should be either one hit or 1/1. It's just the
Very
combination of certain things is so ridiculous. So the warp spiders, I mean, once per game would have fixed. Man, we've been talking. It's funny because we've been talking about this for a while, so I'm pretty on board with these changes. Warp spiders, come on, 24 inches. That can't be all the time. You're like, and what could also happen? And to be perfectly honest about that, to be fair, it was super annoying. If I want to advance and charge my storm boys, everyone might die. Worst thing that happens, moving 24 inches, you take one more wound.
Yeah.
So, modified fate dice. Fate dice should not count as critical wounds, period. Shouldn't generate devastating wounds, whatever. They would be fine if that was the case. Then we can talk about points all day long. The problem is that they need to fix the mechanics first. We can have an argument about where we think that Eldar point should be all day long. It doesn't matter until you fix the mechanics, because it's just going to be like when the Inari with Soul Burst was broken, and I literally got into huge arguments with the GW guys about this, and I said, stop nerfing units, because all everybody does is just go to the next unit because you don't fix the mechanic. You know what I mean? Milli Vanilli of wargaming. Girl, you know it's true. So I don't even know what to say to that.
There's so much to be said, and obviously we're going to talk about the other top dogs as we mentioned, but this one is the one to get out of the way first. Everyone has their own opinions. Brad and I have talked about this. We talked about it with Mr. Crawley several times. There are so many things you can do, and it's just how far does GW want to take it.
Dude, we were talking about this is why you need to nerf some of the mechanics. I was talking with Austin Wingfield over the weekend, and we were talking about certain units. A Falcon with a good gun, with whatever's inside, getting full rerolls to hit. So like Fire Dragons, Fuga, and stuff like that. You're like, those guys don't make the top 15 units in the codex. You're like, in any other codex, like Sisters right now would chop off a leg to get full rerolls, hitting on 2s and full rerolls to wound with their stuff. Matto coming in here. $5 super chat. Looking forward to Sisters Indirect and Miracle Dice getting nerfed because elves are running around. I have to laugh about that. Is there another faction besides Sisters that has been nerfed more collaterally than Sisters?
No, I think they take the cake, honestly. Every time we get hit with something, Sisters are like, what? Oh, besides the Trigon from last edition. He just kind of was hanging out.
He was at home watching TV. He was like, why?
Yeah, he wasn't even in the game. Nobody even had him. They were just like, I don't understand why I got hit so hard. But Sisters, they keep getting hit by stuff. And, Matto, you might be right. We might see an indirect nerf that just hurts, the Exorcists. And, it's what do we say? It's for the greater good.
Yeah, for the greater good. Let's go to Custodes. And I want to go with KR said earlier, which was the Custodes is his army. And he doesn't even like the fact that it's just their infantry are just so ludicrous and so much better than everybody else's. Like the fact that they're multiple free strats, multiple fights first, full rerolls on an objective. And again, with the nerfs to everyone else in Melee, you're just like, well, I guess you're on that objective. What can I do about it? Well, nothing. Try to move block you before you get there.
Yeah, and that's that is a big part of you have to know how to play against Custodes, and even that strategy doesn't always work if they just go first and roll hot on their advances.
Exactly.
Not a very fun mechanic. For these slides upcoming for Custodes, GSC, Knights, I wanted to keep it light to where I think where they might try to light touch. I can imagine if they're sitting there trying to think about what are we doing with Eldar, that a whole lot of people aren't sitting there going, hey, what about Custodes? Those other guys that, and then, somebody's like, well, they're at like what, a 52% win rate? We don't have to worry about them. So I think we might end up needing another nerf on Custodes in the future. Same with GSC, same with Imperial Knights, potentially. Same with things like Necrons, things like Chaos Demons, Thousand Suns.
My thing on, we're talking about like the CK took a hit when they upped all the towering units. I just think if they fix the towering mechanic, you could actually take those points back. You know what I mean? Because if I'm not just getting shot, no matter what I do, then that's a game. You know what I mean? I can play against it. So.
That's right. So these are kind of, when you see these, don't think of them as exhaustive. Think of them as, what is the minimum GW could do? And I think the first one is obviously make them pay for their broken strat. If you are not going to just remove it, like, we're all in favor of just removing Phantasm. At least Brad and I are. And if you want to just say, hey, Custodes, you need to keep all of your CP all the time.
Whoa. Is there anybody that's like, hey, guys, Phantasm's fair and balanced? Like, what?
I've got one in mind, but he will not be named.
Also, Crowley comes in with the leave my Alaris alone, you hobo.
Yeah, that's kind of where it is. I think there's going to be light point increases. I think my prediction, obviously this is part of predictions. Maybe they do have somebody working on it. Somebody that, is having to play against Custodes every day with their Ork army and realize that it's a problem. Reality, probably not that. Probably going to see some light nerfs. I think the best we can hope for is some light point increases. I don't want heavy-handed Custodes point increases. It seems like really tough to balance them if you just all make them the price of, I don't know, the jet bikes. Why are the jet bikes 1 million points? I have no idea. And I do not want to see our Alaris go that way. I don't want to see our Guard go that way. That is, having only 5 units on the table is normal, but I don't want it to go down to 4 units. That's horrible. That's not going to feel fun to play as the custodian player.
I think that if there's again one of those armies that I think is mechanics, because I don't know if they need to, again, exactly what you're saying, have just super few units. And I had to throw in the nerf Danny for his Phantasm comment. So let's go to GSC. I think that this is actually a bigger problem.
Yeah. So GSC, first of all, stop with your infinite demo charges. Quit it. Why is that okay? Do not have this unit that can come back, keep throwing demo charges at me. I understand the argument. Rules is written, rules is intended. I don't care either way. No infinite demo charges. Quit it.
Also, the Nexus free strat on not being able, certain stratagems should just be once a turn. Not being able to target something within 12 and then just using it twice is bonkers. It doesn't feel as bad as Phantasm, but it still feels pretty damn shitty. You know what I mean? Like, so I've basically got these 2 things that I can shoot. Now I can't shoot either one of them. And there's nothing I can do about it. Get within 12, got it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot, has to do with Overwatch and manipulating free stratagems. And I'm using the Nexus as kind of like the key offender here. And obviously it's been reined in a little bit so far, but we really need to take a look at how many times you can use a stratagem for free before you have to go like, should we really be doing this? Is this supposed to be how the game works?
We did try to figure out how many basic demon units, because their troops are too expensive, could equal points in Saboteur's kill.
Oh no, that's just awful.
It was.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that.
It was a lot.
Oh, no, poor demons. Poor demon troops. Very, very particular on that one. Demon troops are in need of help. And then, of course, there are some offenders. I think we will need points on them eventually. Yes, GSC, first of all, we get it out of the way. GSC win rate has been declining a little bit. I don't think that is indicative of their strength overall. And I think we will need some light point increases on key character units. Just and obviously the big bricks of guys. If they go up a few points here and there, it won't kill the army, but it'll bring them more in line.
I do want to go into this because a couple of people mentioned it. What does everybody think about the free strat? Because I actually hate it.
Yeah, no, I do not like it.
I think it can be super abusive, and I think that if you had to really manage your CP a little bit better, you would have to make better decisions, and the game would be more tactical about it.
Yep, they did something interesting where they tried to keep it tactical and take everyone's CP away. So now you have to really think about what CP you want to use each turn on your turn and your opponent's
Except
turn.
for the tops get an extra CP all the time.
Except they ignored that with Way Leaper and other things, and then just decided that most good armies got access to just free stratagems. It seemed like one part of the design team was all on board, and the other half just was in the corner going, and then just making it not matter. Let's get some direction. Like, are we supposed to be, tactically thinking about how to use our CP, or is it just like, early ninth where, congratulations, I'm going to start with 12, and just, let it be like that. I mean, that's because honestly, that's what it feels like when you're playing these armies.
Yeah, it's just, it's such a huge difference between the haves and the have-nots. Like when one army's getting extra CP, free strats, and then is, the vecting, you're like, and you're not one of those armies with a vect or extra CP or free strats, and you're like, I feel like I'm playing a different game than you. So yeah.
Yeah, I came to play checkers and you're playing Warhammer. Like, yeah, that's honestly what it feels like.
Uh-oh. Trooper Squirrel comes in the $5 super chat. Get rid of free strats and rerolls. The game would be so much better. I'm going to give you an old man Brad story. Because back in the day, there was almost no one that even hit on a 2. It was a huge deal. And if you had rerolls, there was usually special characters that got them when they joined certain units, like units of things. And that was the only time you got rerolls. And if you rerolled ones, it was a huge deal. And then I don't even know when that changed. But now, if you're not getting full rerolls to hit and half the time to wound, you're like, I don't even want to take this unit.
That's exactly right. I do agree, Trooper Squirrel. I think if we got rid of free strats and rerolls, I would enjoy playing a lot better because it would equalize the playing field. Right now, I just take a look at what has the most rerolls, what hits the best, and I just take that. I don't really put too much additional thought into it. Of course, you need to, it can't be 400 points. That gives Brad anxiety to talk about units that are 300 plus points. But yeah, that definitely would make the game better.
So yes, Imperial Knights. I don't know if I care about Canis Rex, but
this is kind of along the same lines we were just talking about, toning down the power of how many times can I use this free strat.
Everybody talking about preferred enemy. I forgot about preferred enemy. It was so busted for the time. But with Imperial Knights, all of these would be fine. I literally just want towering changed.
Yep.
Just make towering like they're already doing in FLG, which is toe in, like you explained earlier. Toe in, great. It would be, yeah, I love it. Remember when they said rerolls are going to be less common? Yeah.
Yeah, totally stuck to that one. Just really stuck to their guns on we're going to get less rerolls.
But I'd like to see the Knights. I'd like to see the Knights actually retroactively get their points back and see what towering does to the army. You know what I mean? Because that's what I didn't think that Chaos Knights needed a nerf in the first place. You know what I mean? Good army, but it wasn't as impressive as the Imperials.
100% unjustified. Chaos Knight players, I feel your pain. They just decided that your big models didn't get to play and they weren't doing anything to harm anyone. Their shooting most of the time for me has been lackluster, and their defense, even for a knight, has been a little bit lackluster without that extra, 6-up. And when we say points decreases on them, for everybody, there's probably some guy watching that loses to knights every time he plays. We're not talking about they get a whole nother armature back or 2 armatures. We're just talking enough so that they can get enhancements to kind of play the game.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense that you have all these rules as a knight player for interesting, unique ways to play them, and then they just say, no, actually, you just get another armature. Or you're left with 45 points or something.
And the thing is Austin and Corey came up with good things. They were both talking about Baneblade should get that so they can tow in because it's ridiculously big. And then he played a game with Monoliths just towing in, and it was super fun. I think it's you shouldn't be able to just randomly be shot if you can't shoot people. But also, you shouldn't be able to just go, hey, I can shoot the entire board, and it's not fun for people.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a huge deal. It doesn't, we talked about Imperial Knights, and I'm going to use this slot to say just large models in general. I am not against people playing large models. I have no problem with them playing against them. I have no problem playing with them. It does not need to be like ninth, where suddenly you just get shot and your big, huge, expensive thing just blows up before you get a chance to do anything. I think the ability to see your opponent should be part of it. And also the skill should come in of how do I maneuver my giant, fourth of my army size model around the table to get value from it. And right now we just don't have that. We have just sit it in one spot. It can see everything it can see, and we play and hope it's fine. I don't think that's a great way to play the game.
Talk about the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, things are not great. Let's talk. We have the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Which one do you want, Brad?
So, I don't even want to start. We're gonna do the ugly and move up. Okay.
Okay.
Because the thing is that I don't know if AdMech are in the ugly. I think they just might be in the bad. Because AdMech have some good stuff. Their base mechanic is kind of stupid, but they have some good units that are all wildly overcosted. Just wildly overcosted. Death Guard needs more stuff and probably some points and probably something else. And Votan just needs yes. Like literally just yes. So just
yeah, and that's part of it. And we put the asterisk on AdMech just for that. Obviously detachment rule is ew. I mean, that's just bad. Mostly it's just going to help your opponent, which is very odd. But obviously with some point drops, they have playable units. They, spamming breachers right now is apparently the way. But once they get real detachment rules, we might actually see them be able to do something. But it's hard to gauge on what that might be and how you could change them right now without seeing, one more detachment from them.
it just has to be. I mean, I still don't even know what to do with Votan. They're so bad in 10th.
Yeah, somebody asked for an escalation league list for Votan, and I'll be honest, I really struggled to give them something that I thought even would be fun at lower point values, because their units just cost so much and just do so little. Obviously, if you just want to go and show off your awesomely painted dwarf models, go do it, man.
I love that Austin comes in with the DG is now supposed to be check notes, lethal hits faction.
Yeah, missed the ball.
Well, the thing, I was getting Matt Aaron ready for Nova, and we're working on his DG, and he put some knights in it and stuff. And I was just like, what other stuff do you have? That was literally what we were going with. I'm like, if you put some more demons in here and some more knights in here, and we got rid of all the Death Guard stuff, it's so much better of an army, brother. So let's go to the bad, because these are some armies that have the ability to put the beats and stuff, but just need some more things. Drakari. I think that like certain armies are significantly better than others. Like for instance, Tau, I will never call them that. Tau, Imperial Guard, and Marines all have very playable, very doable wins. Skark from Poland smashed with IG. That was, of course, a team event, and he went into certain things. But IG indirect is terrifying. Tau have crazy, like basically anti-infantry builds. Marines kind of the same, with Desolators, possible Terminators. I still think Death Watch is super playable. Mark Hurdle did super well over the weekend. I think he was 7-1, and he put up a ton. I think Inceptors, not Plasma Inceptors either. Inceptors, really good army. we're gonna get the codex from them anyway, so I don't even know what I'm looking for in Marines, because we're getting a codex in a few weeks. So that, but the thing is that there's a big, even in this middle ground here, there's so much difference between Tau, IG, and Marines, and then you say Sisters Drakari. There's like the bad and then the slightly worse, which I think you put Sisters and Drakari in, for instance, where they've just got a lot of not damage. Tau, IG, and Marines all need a little something. And Marines, again, we won't worry about because they're going to get codex. But like, if you're looking at IG and you're looking at Tau, those guys can punish certain armies. There's no specific thing. If you're taking your Sisters or your Drakari, you're like, well, they're super good against this. You're like, no, they just don't have enough damage.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we didn't want to go too overboard with the what is the full breakdown. This isn't a tier list. This is just generally what did they need. The rules and points section, obviously, you are not going to be fixed just with points. You're still going to struggle. But it's the same way. I mean, these do need some kind of rules changes. Looking over the Jukari stuff, they basically gave them one way to play and didn't give them a whole lot of flexibility to build around something different.
You basically you take Dark Lances and then you run out of slots and go, well, I guess I ally in something, and then you just make an Eldar army. You're just like, eh. So,
and we saw that. We saw it at the Nova. They're just like, I guess the best Drukhari units really are just Eldar units in disguise.
Yep, and that's the thing with them. Now, I would go with the good, and I agree 100% on this. I think that World Eaters and Grey Knights, especially World Eaters, I think World Eaters could be just straight up made good by fixing their points. They are wildly overcosted. Thanks, Tom.
Every unit. Yeah, it's every unit. There's not just one thing that you're like, oh, okay, that's a reasonable price. Like I think it was mentioned in chat earlier, Berserkers. Why are Berserkers so bad, but that many points? That doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, they literally are doing their output based on 9th edition. You know what I mean? They don't do that. We played games where you were over there. When we first did the first weekend, and we put the Wraith Knight out, and one of the guys had World Eaters, and we go, well, without Angron, like, just put your army into the Wraith Knight. It doesn't do anything. Those guys are overpointed, and we already said that melee is a little down. So, like, I would bump their melee up slightly, and I would bring their points down wildly. Like they're so overpriced. Same thing with Grey Knights. I think that they need to have some more hammer options.
Yes.
We talked about the Grandmaster, both ways, Grandmaster and the Nemesis Grandmaster. But the big thing with Grey Knights is they're also just wildly overcosted. In a game where the game's so lethal, you can't just have overpriced units, you know what I mean, just getting pieced out in a second. So
yeah, and they don't reflect their they're supposed to be this 2-up save, very mobile, hard to pin down army. And once you actually touch them, they don't reflect that at all. They just kind of evaporate to dedicated, stuff from your opponent's army. And the reason for that is it's hard for you to get in there and deal any kind of real significant damage to the units that are then going to hit your Grey Knights back. That has been a huge problem for me as I've been playing Grey Knights is I can do whatever I want with my first turn. I feel like I have so much flexibility, so much mobility that they honestly should play just like the Lord. I feel like I can teleport anywhere and accomplish small objectives on demand. And then my opponent, one thing goes maybe a little bit sideways, and then my opponent hits the unit and it disappears and I lose 500 points. And that's just absurd. That is no way to play Warhammer. I didn't take a Baneblade equivalent model where it towers down the battlefield. I took some guys in a character. Why are they 430 points?
It's just
I
crazy.
think we fix that by, of course, points. Yeah.
And the thing is that I think World Eaters Grey Knights points with a couple options. You know what I mean? I would probably bump up their big things, like Exalted, for instance. I'd bump up that Grey Knights. I would give them some hammer options. And then I think Tau, IG, Again, Marines get their own codex in a minute, so we'll just see. But like Sisters Drakari they almost need real reworking, to be honest with you, because their hand to hand went from this fast moving great counterpunch to laughably nobody cares if you get hit by them.
Yeah, that is. I will agree with you. Sisters and Drakari would be in their own tier. I think that they do have okay builds, but there's only one way to play them. There's only, a certain subset of units that go into them, and they just do not punch up at all. They play a close game at very best, assuming, model availability and skill level is equal. And there's nothing that, aside from changing their rules, that you could really change that, because it's not like just Sisters and Drakari are going to get points drops. Like, there is no world we're talking about here where, oh wow, looks like everybody didn't get points drops. People got points increases, and then only Sisters and Drakari got points drops. And I think because we're not going to see that, they're still going to struggle a little bit.
Yeah. Yes. All of the things. I agree. All right. Let's, we're talking about Orks for the last couple minutes.
Let's do it.
We're doing some Orks. Walk at Nova. So this is what I brought. And I had a great time playing it. And that's kind of the thing where if we take the top down, we raise the bottom up a little bit. And I'm not saying this is the end all be all, but this felt like what 10th edition should have felt like if I wasn't getting, a million mortals dropped on me. Now, there was a pretty hot game of mortals at my last game, but still, like, you can't do anything sometimes. So, such a bad sounding lock. True. Winners and losers in my list. The trucks are always winners. Flash kits are just like doing stuff. I had the 3 bubble chuckas, and in a couple games they did wild damage, and then in like 4 other games I don't know if they did any wounds. So they were meh. Squigogs always felt good. So I think my love-hate relationship was with the Beast Snagga boys. A lot of the time they feel like free rerolls for my Beast boss, and that is it. And again, because you go into the melee, you know what I mean? They are strength 5 AP 1 and melee, and you're like kind of rolling and go, they may do something, and then the Beast boss and the knob are like, all right, everybody, stand aside and let us do some work here. But oh no, I'm looking to just score points, and I was looking to take the board. Like every single game, I put 2 units of at least 2 units of Storm Boys off, 2 of the mech guns off, the flash kits went in a truck, and my wife's trying wildly to distract me right now. And the flash kits went in a truck, and effectively the mech walked next to them about stuff. And so I kept a lot of stuff in reserve, specifically just to try to score points. And I think that's what you have to do against the tops right now, because and this is why it's such a big problem against some certain things, is I have an army that is mainly melee, and against Custodes I cannot kill anything if they stand an objective. It's not even possible. Yeah, I mean, they hit first, they have full rerolls to wound. It's crazy time. Yeah, the beast bosses feel fantastic. And they feel fantastic because they were doing devastating wounds. And I don't know if that's still should be a thing, because I was doing devastating wounds on an anti-keyword, which kind of makes me feel that shouldn't happen. Yeah. The Nalmud Smash a Squig and the 2 beast bosses. But instead of doing that, maybe just give them better strength and better AP, just like we talked about with the Exalted and things of that nature. Because if my beast bosses and my Nalmud Smash a Squig weren't hitting a vehicle or a monster, they just don't hit that hard. You know what I mean? They're not super high strength, and they're AP1. You know what I mean? So, go ahead.
I was going to say, also if you want a more, I know Brad's going over his list and what he'd change. We also have Deal With It Orks if you want to see the full breakdown. We did just reveal Brad's exact list that he took straight to the tournament, and he talked in depth about why he picked the units and what they do. So you can check that out on either of our channels. And one big thing about this list that we harped on even then is we don't think this list is going to get touched at all. And as you can see by the results, you can just take it and win with it, even into absolutely broken armies.
Yeah, and it's a big deal in that. So, and the thing is it did fail. In a world with 2-up saves and armor contempt, 100%. It was rough. Playing, bouncing off a lot of hurdles, Death Watch. Ended up killing a decent amount of stuff, but it was, again, one of those things where I got a decent amount of mortal wounds everywhere. Why does Brad's t-shirt make him look like Toledo's Black Panther? I am the leader of Wakanda for sure. But
shirt.
Yeah, this is a Star Wars shirt.
Someone up their nerd game, bro.
I love everything about this shirt. As soon as I put it on, I was like, I look like I'm going to a 70s disco, and it makes me happy.
Oh man, Brad, you always are bringing the mood. That's for sure, especially with your shirts.
You're welcome.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Brad always gives us the rundown in his shirt before we go live.
True story too.
100%.
And the thing is that I think, I'm going to make a prediction.
Okay, hit us.
Yeah, I think I don't know if this Thursday is going to do it, but I think after we get a couple books and we get maybe even one more, a few, in a few months or whatever. But I think I'm hoping, look at my wish list here. Let's go down to I'm actually going to go down to the bottom. If they fix some of these things, I think that the meta, because I was playing the Orks, I had a great time. You know what I mean? I think 10th edition is going to actually be a great and fun addition. They just have to fix some of the worst offenders. You know what I mean? It's just, the problem is I feel like they tried to do some good things, but they just didn't go, deal with some of these like wildly terrible things, So you're like, I give you the same analogy I made. It's like you go out to eat at this great restaurant that took months for your reservations, and then you get this great meal, but right next to you, 2 people are actually fighting on the floor next to you.
That's sweet.
Yeah, Britt loves it, but other people don't.
I would pay for that.
She's like, I pay extra to have 2 random people fight next to me.
Oh man, that sounds exactly right. Brandon wants to know what we're battling with on Thursday. I don't know. I'm kind of split mind about it. I think.
Whoa!
Well,
there is no way that you guys are declaring your armies until after you see the Dataslate. You play with that. That's insanity. What kind of crazy talk is that? Also, Carmona completely called me out. He goes, it is pretty ironic that Brad is literally doing the show with rose-tinted glasses.
Caught that one, did you? Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about the balanced data slate on Thursday. I don't know, Brad. You wanna go live and we'll talk about it?
100%.
That'd be a good follow up. We can do that. We could even get Brandon in there. I do think it's going to be hard to play a game. I don't think a lot of people are going to want to watch old data slate content.
Let's just let's slam down. We'll slam down what we think. We'll go live and we'll go right through it.
Yeah.
We'll go live whatever time they go live, to be honest with you. So
yeah, that works for me. We can all watch it together. You can see how our wish lists line up with what GW is thinking. So
Brad should be definitely taking Votan and Frogtown. I will literally play anything, and I won't play Votan right now. I'll put it that way. I think I have a fighting chance with almost any army in the game. I can at least put, the old college try up there. I think I would tap out with Votan.
Yeah, you really take a look at them and you're like, where is this gem? These are the dwarves. Where's the the little nugget? And then you realize there's not. And I'm sorry for all yous out there. I know I'm getting a grudging. There's a grudging for that. But yeah, there's just nothing. there's nothing for them.
It is what it is. Sisters of See, I did play Sisters of Silence, and they have T3 and a bolter. So there you
That's
go.
not an exaggeration. That's not,
Is the
not
entirety of
even
what
a
they
little
have.
bit.
Brett will do anything for love, but he won't do that because he won't play Votan. Yes, exactly, Carbona. It's going to be called Bieber and His Uncle React.
There you go. I mean, Carmona, you just gave us the title. Thanks for that freebie. I appreciate
Done.
it.
That's too tall and handsome. Yep, exactly. Good times. You know what? We're probably going to talk about this stuff twice on Thursday, to be perfectly honest. What we'll do, here's my thoughts. See, this is what we'll do. I'm enlisting you at night also, Sean. So you're going to be you're going to double dip. Because I'd like to do that with all of us. What I'd like to do is in the app, as soon as it goes live, we'll just give our immediate hot takes for however long that takes. And then for the Thursday night show, what we usually do, what we'll do is we'll go live at 7, and we have hours to basically compare our notes to other people's notes, and then we'll compare and contrast our wish list with everything else and see how our thoughts and everybody else's thoughts really gel. You know what I mean? And just we'll see what we think.
All right, that sounds good. And if you're interested in some lists with changes, I will promise if the changes are they're spicy.
Oh,
I'll bring some lists.
Hold on. Yeah. I guarantee that Thursday night I will bring 2 lists. Can you guarantee that also? Full list, not list concepts.
No. Full list. I've got them in the chamber. I've got a good understanding of basically every army now. If there are some spicy changes, you're going to see some sweet stuff.
Thoughtful slides and content. Yeah, that's what his job is. The funny thing is that Carbona makes fun of this. I made all of the slides for some of the other things that we've done. So you just giving me a bad rap, man. So on that note, Queen's Wave, and we will see you on the morrow.